Have you ever been looking at two products in a store and wondered which one of these is more sustainable? I surely have thought about this a lot of the times and realized that binary thinking isn't going to help us in this situation. Language like eco-friendly and sustainable is heavily influenced by consumerism, and these terms often refer to goods or services, and in the case of greenwashing, can make companies seem better than they actually are. Even so, over 90% of CEOs say that sustainability will be their essential to their company's success, so we can expect more sustainable brands, lines, or missions implemented in corporations and institutions' goals. However, the issue with this is asking ourselves, do we really need more sustainable products to become a sustainable world when these products have always existed even before colonization? In a world where not everyone has access to farmers markets, clean energy, clean cars, and bulk store refill options, what are other ways to be eco-conscious? And a lot of you have really challenged me on this type of rhetoric because a lot of the times I get many low-income students asking me what is the best way to be sustainable. And rather than portraying eco-friendly as owning a set of specific products or buying these plastic-free, vegan, chemical-free items, we should frame it as our relationships with the environment and what our eco-conscious values mean to us. Because this is really essential in the sustainability movement, is that it's not so much that we focus so much on what is the most conscious consumer product, but how do we delve deeper into these systems thinking that recognizing that products is more than just what we have in our hands, but rather the justice and ethical sourcing of recognizing that people who produces our products and supply chains are equitably being treated fairly. Being eco-friendly wasn't always a choice for me. It was actually based on survival, and for tens of thousands of years, eco-friendly was a way for living for many of our ancestors. Our ancestors lived sustainably for generations, and they observed cultures focused on circular relationships with the land, community, and body. In the world we live in today, we are largely unable to live a circular life or survive off the land, but that doesn't mean these lessons don't apply, right? One of my most exciting things I found in my eco-friendly journey or sustainable journey is to have more of an opportunity to redesign my relationships with the living world, and this looks into really building new partnerships and relationships with brands and orgs. And something I try to do as a content creator is asking them, it's not so much about the products they'll give me and the funds I'll get, but rather how do we create opportunities for career development for other young sustainability professionals. And something I've been really pitching brands is going to conferences, doing speaking engagements, or being a host of a podcast. And I really love the fact that this is an innovative field. When I first began to understand my relationship with the environment, I started to swap products I own that for more sustainable items. But something I realized is that I was determined to buy all of these sustainable products and opt out of unsustainable systems. But that in itself was a whole privilege in my own life, right? I found that using these types of products didn't always work for my body. One thing I will tell everyone straight up is that natural deodorant does not work for me. And I've tried so many brands that have really failed me. And when it comes to the packaging, right, it is really hard to create paper or cardboard packaging because it's easily able to be ripped or broken or water damaged, and I've had issues with products being destroyed because of the rain. So this had me look into more of a double take in myself and ask myself, am I truly being sustainable when I'm using so much money and buying products that are either going to be broken or don't work for me, right? How do I really change this landscape and that products can be used in a very sustainable way that actually is beneficial for our bodies, right? I was trying to continuously tell myself that, this is the way to live, and I realized that not everyone has that privilege to even choose option, right? I always believe that low-income people should have options. There's no such thing as this is the only thing that you can get, because that tells working class and poor people that they aren't good enough to have options when we should all have options. Now, I think of it differently. Rather than chasing the newest products that are in lines, I'll always question myself and say, do I need this product in the first place? I'll use products for as long as I can or see what products I need to replace. But even though I use plastic on a daily basis, I've been able to phase out a lot of the plastic products in my bathroom, for example. And I feel that as a vegan myself, the reason why I got really attuned to zero waste living or low waste living was I asked myself, how do I continue extending my compassion for different lifestyle values that are aligned to the planet? And I saw zero waste and low waste living as a way for me to practice that. After hearing so much feedback from my community and you all that watch these videos, I really wanted to provide this holistic approach for people to approach their eco-friendly ways of living, right? Like, how do you create a positive relationship with the land and the products you use, and understanding that there's so much more local systemic change that we need to be advocating for, such as the plastic treaty or holding these corporations accountable. So here are some tips that I'm going to give you all, and I hope this helps you. So here are my 5 R's for eco-friendly living. You can use whatever you want or what framework you like, because honestly, it shouldn't matter. Number 1 is reconnecting, right? Connect back to your culture roots, your own lived experiences, your family, your siblings, your loved ones, and ask them what made them sustainable, right? Like, for a lot of us, we either we had to reuse, or we had to upcycle a lot of things that were around our home because that was based on survival. And thinking about the idea of maximalism rather than minimalism, because maximalism, as a consumer society, a lot of us do have a lot of items that are unnecessary. The other thing I would like to say is research, right? Like, what is a product made out of? Like, where are they sourcing it? Is it transparent? Does it have an ethical supply chain? And is there traceability to that company and where they're sourcing their materials? I truly don't always believe brands that have the eco-friendly label, because there's always something ambiguous within their language. And as we know, certifications are not so much always greenwashing, but they are just the benchmark for corporations to meet those standards when they should have been doing that for years. The other thing I recommend you doing is reevaluating your relationship with products. Like, do I need this product? If not, opt out, right? Like, if yes, you do need to buy this product, ask yourself, like, how much time do you plan to use this product for? And also asking yourself, like, is there other options that exist out there? The other tip I recommend is redesigning, right? Redesigning your relationship with everything, right? Bring your advocacy beyond purchasing these products and design a life around sustainability that follows the law and justice. What are other issues that you can get involved into, right? For a lot of us, we may be sitting here asking ourselves, there's nothing I can do, but I'd always tell people, like, help your local teachers buy eco-friendly supplies. Teach your parents why reusables are important. Like, these are very small steps that a lot of people need to be taking. And the last tip is reestablishing, right? Now that you want to create this change in your community, whether it's like banning a certain material or getting more options or resources invested in the communities, is to educate yourself and those around you. Because most of the times, what I've realized in building power in movements, it's not so much about looking down on the person or telling them that they don't know anything. It's about this reciprocal learning process in which you tell yourselves things that you don't know and how do you build. Because I've met so many people that are offline on social media that have been doing these eco-friendly lifestyles, and they don't prescribe to the dominant social media values. So asking yourself that there's probably a lot of elders in your area or children that have these creative ideas of how to be sustainable. And I think as adults, we always have to conform to these boxes to follow these relationships of normativity, but we have to go beyond that and ask ourselves, what does it mean to be unique in this movement? With that being said, I really hope that the eco-friendly 5 R's help you in your way of life. I know as a sustainability content creator, I do take minutes of wanting to also reduce the amount of products that I'm advertising with companies. As y'all know, this year I really made an active pledge to ensure that I'm not going to be working with as much corporations and to only work with brands and orgs that truly are aligned with my values, and to really explore those dimensions. Because I think, yes, while we may often hate that these brands are creating these reusable or sustainable product lines, it does provide a price accessibility for a lot of communities who may have not had the option to try it out. I know for me, like any shampoo, or conditioner bar that was more than, $6, $8, $10. That's a lot for me. And so I would hope to see that other brands take action in providing sample sizes for these communities and to allow us to really start asking more questions and to humanize the relationship with the people who work in those industries and with us to have this active dialogue of what does it mean to be sustainable. So, like I said at the end, eco-friendly living does not need to look like a certain way, right? Like your imperfections is what makes you organic in this movement, and there is no such thing as perfectionism in trying to live an eco-friendly lifestyle. If for any reason this lifestyle is causing physical or mental health degradation, I do advise you to divest away from it and ask yourself what are the sustainable steps that are accessible to my health. If you really enjoyed this video, please make sure to give a like, comment, and subscribe, as I really love talking about these topics with you all. And let me know in the comments if you want to see other videos that talk about certain issues or products, because as someone who is a sustainability enthusiast, I'm always looking to explore other topics.